The second week of the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial this year kicks off with a new defense witness taking the stand. Hello and welcome to Inside the Courtroom, the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial rep. I'm Mnisi. And of course, it's a pleasure to have you with us this afternoon. We're coming to you live from our Randburg studios. Plenty to get through over the next hour. But remember, we love hearing from you. So to keep in touch with us, you can do so by scanning the QR code and voting on our weekly poll question this week. We want to know what you make of Makosonke Zungu's testimony in court. Your options are evidence sounds credible, misleading the court, and the last one is I have not yet decided. So remember to also interact with us on our social media platforms. That is at Newzroom405 on social media platform X. But you can also drop us a call or drop us a WhatsApp message. The number is also on your screen, will be appearing shortly. But let's get the show on the road. We start here. Absalom Zungu, Sfiso Gwabini, and Makosonke Zungu. These are the names that have so far dominated the Senzo Meyiwa case. So you wonder, who are they and how do they feature into the trial? Now, Absalom Zungu is the father of State Witness Constable Sizwe Zungu. He denied willingly participating in the statement that gave the police a lead to accused number 1 and 2 being possible suspects in the matter. Sfiso Zungu, known by his clan name Gwabini, is the alleged host of the gathering where the murder of Senzo Meyiwa was planned, a claim he vehemently denied. And now the defense called Makosonke Zungu, who allegedly attended the Fosler's gathering honoring an invite from Gwabini. All right, so the defense is currently focused on the allegations of prior planning. Makosonke Zungu is said to have arrived with his uncle Sizwe Zungu. Zungu is a police constable who testified that he met up with Makosonke in Carlton Center on the day that Meyiwa was killed and headed to the Basotho hostel in Vosloorus. The hostel is where Gwabini stayed and the venue that hosted this alleged gathering. Now, in his testimony, he explains how he only met Constable Sizwe Zungu on 3 occasions starting in 2015. Now, for context, this is 8 months after the murder.
When did you first meet Constable Zungu?
When I first started to know Constable Zungu, it was in June 2015.
Can you explain the circumstances?
I was working in Rustenburg. When I say, sorry, I was going home, I would be going to Johannesburg because I was preparing for my wedding here. I was going to Johannesburg to go and buy shoes. Whilst in Johannesburg, I telephonically contacted Gwabini, asking him to join me. I was in Johannesburg and I was looking for shoes in Johannesburg. Upon arriving there, he then said to me, can you please make a turn at my uncle? I've got an uncle who stays in Tembisa. He's a police officer. We got there. That was the first time I met him. He introduced him. He said to him, this is Zwe, referred to him as Zwe,
yes.
And his father is Mr. Ntahlezi, which is Absalom Zungu.
Now, Gwabini testified before Makosonke and told the court that he had last seen Constable Zungu in 1998 before seeing him again in 2017.
He introduces you to Constable Zungu,
yes,
and tells you who he is. That is the first time that you're meeting him. Thank you. Then what happened?
We then had some drinks. And I must tell the truth, because there was a lady, because I'm here to tell the truth.
Yes.
There was a lady that I was waiting for, that I was supposed to go back with, to take her and go back with to Rustenburg.
Ultimately, what happened?
We sat there, we entertained ourselves, and we then parted ways because it was Saturday. We then parted ways on a Sunday morning.
So you slept at Tembisa?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. So you when you parted ways, where did you go to?
I was going to Brett, where I was staying.
Then what happened to Gwabini? When you left on Sunday on your way back to Bretswart?
He also went back to where he was staying in Phosphorus.
Thank you. Now I understand you that that was the first time at which you met Constable Zungu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Zungu says the next time he met Constable Zungu was in 2017. And of course, Zungu says on their way to the hostel to visit Gwabini, they then bumped into accused number one, that's Mnisi Sibia. Now, according to the state, Sibia was one of the alleged lookout men when the alleged murder of soccer star Senzo Meyiwa was executed.
Just as we arrived, just before we got to the hostel, I then indicated, oh, we are lucky or we are fortunate. Here's Mnisi. He was in the company of another gentleman. There were only two. Yeah.
Now, when you say Mnisi, who are you referring to?
Sibia.
Thank you. That's accused number one. Thank you. What was he doing?
I don't know whether he was, he just finished shaving his head because he came out like in dusting himself off.
Oh, okay. Right, proceed.
Yeah. Mnisi then got into the vehicle together with the gentleman in whose company he was. He introduced the gentleman as being Tovi. I then mentioned that I know Tovi a little bit, but I don't know him that much or personally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Proceed.
We were facing ShopRite, but we then saw that, we noticed that ShopRite was full or it was packed. Then we turned the vehicle around, and we headed for Overland. I then inquired as to where Gwabeni was. He then responded by saying that Gwabeni was still busy with his bicycle because he was using his bicycle.
They traveled the vehicle then. Who was him?
Sorry?
Or who was driving the vehicle in which you were?
Constable Zungu.
Thank you. Right. And then he turned around the vehicle.
Okay.
And then he drove to Overland because ShopRite Checkers was
On our way to Overland, we then came across Gwabeni. He was going down towards the side of the hostel. We were going towards the side of Overland.
Yes.
Then the driver pressed the bell or the hooter of the vehicle. Mnisi then peeped out or peeped through and said to him that you've got visitors here. And then he asked, where are they coming? Where are they coming from? Or those ones, where are they coming from?
Yes.
The response was that no, we were just surprising you, or it was just a surprise. And when we proceeded with our journey,
Yes.
we got to Overland, we bought the liquor. Yeah.
What type of liquor did you buy?
If I remember correctly, it was 6 of the long tons of Heineken, as well as Castle Light, because Constable Zungu drank or was drinking Castle Light.
What else?
We also bought a bottle of Jameson.
What day of the week was it?
It was a Saturday.
Now, Zungu tells the court that they ultimately went to the Phosphorus Masutu hostel. Now, this is where Gwabini resided.
From there, we went back to the hostel.
Yes.
The only person that we found there was Gwabini, and then we sat there.
Now, do you still remember who were the occupants of their house where you sat? Who was there? You're saying it was Gwabeni. Who else was there?
It was myself, Gwabeni Tovi, Constable Zungu. There were some ladies who would go in and out, and others would also go in and out. I wouldn't count them because they were not with us or in our company. We were just 5. There were just 5 of us who were seated there.
What happened to Sibia? I remember you met him and then went in the company of Tovi.
Sibia was with us because we went with him and we were with him in the house. I can't remember well. I think they refer to it as being the N22. I can't remember well.
What is that N22?
The room number.
Oh, the room number of the house in which you were?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, don't worry about what room number was it. If you don't remember, you don't remember. And then what happened thereafter, say? You sat there, drank, and then what happened?
All right, so the witness then went into what happened at the hostel, detailing who was there and what they got up to.
Later in the day, and I think it was also starting to rain, I then mentioned that because I was coming from work, can I just have some sleep? And then Gwabeni then suggested and said that, take your bag, because I had a bag with me. Take your bag because that's the room in which you were going to sleep.
Right.
Around about 6, because it was not that late yet, I found Kwabeni standing next to a sink there because there's a stove there.
Yes.
He was busy cooking. He then took out that meat and we ate. I then wanted to know where Muzi and Constable Zungu was. He then said, I think uncle, that is now Constable Zungu, left, and I'm not sure, I'm not certain where Muzi is.
So when you woke up, Tovi, Sibia, and Constable Zungu were no longer there. It was only Mr. Kwabeni.
Yes.
Thank you. Then what happened?
After that, I went to some shop. There's a certain gentleman who's a homie. They refer to him as Mdesh. I got there and I had a few drinks. From there, I got back to the house where I was and slept. I tried to call Sizwe, but he did not answer his phone.
Yes.
Even on the Sunday, because I knew that you can just pick me up, drop me in Tembisa, and then I would take some taxis to Pretoria or to Brett's, but I never got hold of him.
And you ultimately left.
Because I did not have cash on me, I requested Kwabeni to go to ShopRite, get some cash back for me to be able to take a taxi.
Thank you.
Now, the last time that Zungu says he met up with Sizwe was in 2019. This time, Zungu says the police constable called him asking to meet.
I said to him, I'm staying now in Bakersford, and then he says to me, I normally come to Leidenbeck, or normally go to Leidenbeck.
Yes.
Work-related, it would be work-related. It would then happen that if I do come that side, I will contact you and we meet.
Yes.
And then he contacted me, although I can't remember the day, and we met.
Let's deal with this phone. Did he tell you the reason why he wanted to come see you on the phone?
No, he did. There's no reason that he gave me.
Okay, thank you. Then he calls you again.
He then contacted me wanting to know as to around what time will I knock off.
Yes.
I then informed him that around 2. And then upon his arrival, he contacted me. And then I traveled straight from Marula. And then he informed me that I was going to get him or find him at the engine garage. Upon arrival there, there was a Ford Ranger, and there were 2 of them inside. And then he alighted from the vehicle and approached me. The driver of the vehicle remained behind or in the vehicle. When he got to me, he then said that I was approached at work by his colonel and then requested to join the investigating team in the Senzo Meyiwa matter.
He approaches you and say that which you have just said now, and then what happened?
I then said, now how are you now involved in this, or how do you get to be involved in this? He then said that what amazed him when he got there, Kwabeni's name was there, Muzi's name was there, Mafika's name was there.
Yes, Kanji's name was there. Simpio Telezi, his name was there.
Okay.
Yes.
When he says when you arrived there, where is the there?
At his workplace, that when he got there, and then the names that were provided to him, the people that were being suspected are these people, or that needs to be investigated.
Let's repeat the name again.
Umuzi Sibia,
Sibia,
Mafika
Ntanzi,
Yes,
Nkani, Simpiwe Buthelezi.
Right, he gives you those names, and then what happened?
I then asked him, do you know these people that you are talking about? He then said no, he doesn't know them. He needed assistance in order to be in contact with them or to get to know them.
What did you understand by that which came from him to me? When he said to you, I would want an assistance, or I would want assistance so that I get to contact them. What did you understand?
It was clear that these people were unknown to him.
Yes.
The people that he might have known would have been Muzi and Ntanzi, because Constable Zungu's father, that is now Mr. Absalom, is a relative of the Ntanzis.
Yes, but what I mean is when he says to you, I want assistance through which I can contact these people.
According to my thinking, maybe he thought that I would have I would have knowledge of these people, but I didn't have any knowledge of them.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
Now, Zungu tells the court that he warned him of the dangers of getting himself involved in this particular case. And of course, remember, we've got our poll question for this week that we're asking you to participate in. And the real question that we have for you is, what do you make of Makosonke Zungu's testimony? Those options are on your screen. The first one says, it sounds credible. The second one being misleading the court. And the third one being, I am yet to decide. So make sure that you continue voting on by scanning rather the QR code on your screen. Let's now take a quick ad break. When we come back, Zungu testifies about his alleged statement. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, and thank you for choosing to stay with us. If you're joining us, you're watching Inside the Courtroom, the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial wrap with myself, Linda Mnisi. Now, the lawyer for the alleged lookout man, Sibia, and the alleged gunman, Mtobisi Mncube, took the defense witness, Makosonke Zungu, through the testimony of Constable Sizwe Zungu, who told the court about, that he was in fact invited to the hostel by his nephew Gwabini on the day that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. He said his nephew then gave him Makosonke's number, who would also be joining them at the gathering at the hostel. Sizwe and Makosonke ultimately met at the Carlton Center that's in Joburg CBD and headed over to the hostel. This is where Sizwe says he saw all the accused. Makosonke denies and says he was never at the hostel, and neither did he see Constable Sizwe Zungu in 2014. All right, he then says they arrived again the next day. All right, Zungu says the statement was not read back to him, and he did not know the contents of the statement. Now, to unpack this, now we're joined by Dr. Dumsani Mabunda, a criminologist from UNISA. Dr. Mabunda, thank you very much for your time. In this case, we're hearing defense witnesses mostly talking about how they were either assaulted or coerced, or simply saying they don't know, the contents of the statements that the state alleges was in their names. How often do you come across situations like this? And maybe perhaps you can take us through the process of getting witness statements.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Let me first correct you about my title. I'm a professor, not a doctor. Professor Mabunda. Going back to your question, I think a statement is the core of any investigation. Police officers are supposed to know the statement and its contents, and they have templates of statements that will stand the test of time in court. Secondly, we are aware that witnesses or suspects have a tendency of denying that they are not agreeing with the statement that they signed when they are attempting to evade justice. But it is up to investigating officers to convince the court that actually the statements were read to suspects, and they appended their signatures on that. And it is also possible that it can be translated into the language of the suspect so that there is no way in which they will try to deny that the statement was erroneously signed, or they were coerced to sign a statement that they didn't make.
Mm. And how often do you come across such cases? I mean, when we look at this case, you've got your Section 204 witness statements, there are alleged confession statements and other, witness statements. Some of the people that have testified telling the court that, in fact, I was told what to say, or, we had a conversation with the lead investigator and he was writing, I did not know what he was writing, but the person then confirming that the details, the personal details are theirs and the signature is theirs. Some of the contents, sometimes they say, they discuss the contents or those details with the lead investigating officer, but denying others. How does then the court navigate that kind of evidence?
Yes, a good question, Linda. It's common cause that suspects seek the assistance of legal people when they are at the wrong side of the law. So even if the suspect had agreed to their lawyers at whatever stage, it is common cause that the legal representative, because they're getting paid, they will convince the suspect to say, no, I deny everything. I don't know of this statement. But what is surprising is that confessions are made in the presence of legal people. So the onus is on the suspect or accused to convince the court that actually what they are alleging is true. They are alleging that they don't know the statement, or most commonly, suspects come before court and say, we were assaulted, we were forced, we were chubed, we were subjected to all kinds of pressure. That is why we ended up agreeing to sign. So I think the ball is in the court of the presiding officers to find where the truth is. Either the investigating officers were lying or the accused are lying. But unfortunately, this case that you are referring to have been dragging on for some years now. One would hope that it will be concluded in the near future, because the people that are affected are looking for justice. Yeah. And this slinging of going back and forth, of trying to dispute the statements, will further delay the proceedings.
Yeah, and in this case, we are also hearing about, the investigations and the process of the investigation and how it unfolded. It seems some of the people that the police managed to get would be deemed as insiders, people that would know some of the accused. And obviously, this is an allegation, and some of the details that those people give to the court are denied. But during an investigation, what sort of tactics would the police use to crack into what would be deemed the inner circles of the people that they're pursuing?
Yeah, the sad part in terms of investigating officers in South Africa is that there is an exodus of experienced officers. So investigation comes through time. So if we get inexperienced officers, they don't have interrogation techniques to try and extract information from witnesses. That is where the challenge lies, because if you don't have those skills, you are likely to miss very, very important information that would help the court to come to a conclusion. So, but I have no details of who is investigating this case, but it is my view that those investigators have gone through the required training to be able to extract information in a legal way, for that matter, because sometimes in an attempt to extract information, investigating officers are sometimes tempted to use illegal means, which, if medical records can prove that indeed witnesses were tortured or they were forced to bring certain information, that will compromise the case. But it is my view that this case, the officers that are investigating this case are experienced officers, despite the issue that I mentioned earlier on, that experienced officers have left or continue to leave the SAPS for various reasons.
Yeah. One other element that is quite important about investigations in this case is that of profiling possible suspects before, the police approach them. They say this was a prosecutorial-led investigation, which we're seeing more and more of. I mean, if you go back to the testimony in the Madlanga Commission, the top cop in KwaZulu-Natal, Ndlandla Mkhwanazi, talking about these kinds of investigations where prosecutors are involved. And we're hearing that in this case, this was the case. It was a prosecutorial-led investigation. Talk to us about why, prosecutors would be important in ensuring that the case is properly investigated.
A good question, Linda. If you look at how the former Scorpions used to be successful, it's because they were involving various expertise in their investigation. That would make sure that before the court is enrolled, they have all the evidence. Because what happens if you rush an investigation, the court may throw the case out of the window because of insufficient evidence. And lately, we have seen with high-profile cases, we have seen situations where due to the 72-hour pressure that someone needs to be arrested, there's also a temptation where investigating officers are likely to arrest a person who fit the profile. You're talking about the profile here. Who fit the profile of a suspect that was allegedly either seen through the CCTV or through eyewitnesses. And then a few days or few months down the line, you see that the suspects are released because of lack of evidence. That is frustrating because that is what causes the ballooning of civil claims against the police because of wrongful arrest. But in this instance, we want to believe that the right suspects in this particular case are the ones that are before court as we speak.
And another important element, we're hearing that this was a contractual killing, right? So there would have been an element of prior planning. And during investigation, one wonders how the police get to the conclusion that this may have been a contractual killing. Is it perhaps the link to the alleged mastermind? Or is it that by information that comes up, for example, in this case where you saw alleged confession statements alleging that Kelly Kumalo was the alleged mastermind or that the job came from her. How do, the investigators get to the conclusion that it's a contractual killing? And how important then is the element of prior planning, establishing those elements of prior planning?
A good question, Linda. Contract killings in South Africa are complex cases. I am certain that those who eventually pull the trigger have been so compensated that they have a pledge that they will not disclose the person who asked them to commit such a murder. But I believe that even in this case, the case will not be finalized unless the masterminds are identified and also face the might of the law. But yeah, as I indicated, contract killings in South Africa is coupled with witness protection because genuine witnesses are often intimidated or even eliminated so that the real perpetrators of the crime evade justice. Yeah. So we hope that the witness protection program will be strengthened in such a way that those who end up committing crime, if they were instructed by individuals, will be in a position to expose those elements without having to fear for their lives and those of their families.
Yeah, and just one last question quickly, we've run out of time. Is it a known phenomenon that in the criminal justice system it can happen that the alleged trigger pullers are prosecuted first and then followed by the alleged mastermind?
Yeah, it is possible because there is no so-called cold case in this world. If there are evidence, cases can be resuscitated even years after the conclusion of that case. Yeah, let's wait until this case is concluded. The available witnesses are done with their testimonies and the court comes to a conclusion, hoping that the real masterminds will eventually face the might of the law, because we are made to believe that no one is above the law. So we are looking forward to the conclusion of this process, and hopefully before it is concluded, someone will have pointed to who the masterminds in this particular case is.
Professor Dubisani Mabunda is a criminologist with Mnisi. Thank you very much for your time helping us understand the picture painted by the defense witnesses around allegations regarding how their alleged statements were taken. So talking to us through, the importance and how investigations happen when witness statements are taken. But remember, we still have our poll question that we're running for you, and that's where you can participate and interact with us. The question is, what do you make of Makosonke Zungu's testimony? Sounds credible, misleading the court, and I'm yet to decide. Already we have 93% of you saying that his testimony sounds credible, while 7% of you saying he is misleading the court. So we'll continue tracking those numbers, so make sure that you interact with us throughout the program. All right, after the break, we get into the cross-examination of Makosonke Zungu. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's turn our attention now to the state's cross-examination of Makosonke Zungu. The state, among others, starting with establishing Zungu's whereabouts on the day that Meyiwa was killed.
Where were you on that day?
On the 26th of October 2014, I was in Rustenburg.
With who?
Although I won't be able to remember the people, I won't be guaranteed as to who the people were because I was renting.
Which place exactly in Rustenburg?
Oh?
Vonderkop.
Vonderkop.
What makes you to remember that you were at Vonderkop on the 26th of October 2014?
What makes me to be able to recall that I was in Vonderkop is because the following day, the Monday, I was going to wake up and go to work. Secondly, I was still under probation, so I was in no way to be able to go anywhere, and especially before being paid or getting paid.
Now, Zungu confirms that the alleged host, Gwabini, his uncle, Constable Zungu, and Absalom Zungu are his relatives. Gwabini testified before Makosonke.
If someone, or if a proposition was to be put before this court that in 2014 you were not employed, what would you say?
That is not the truth.
Can I put it as high as saying that person is lying?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
I want to read you a passage. The proceedings of 26 November 2025 on page 61. The last line where Advocate Baloyi asked Mr. S.G. Zungu, Sifiso Gwabeni Zungu, so you cannot dispute that in 2014 he was working in Rustenburg. Mr. S.G. Zungu, I will dispute it because me being me, knowing Makosongo, being acquainted to Makosongo, I did not start in 2014. So, any comment?
Although I don't understand what this means.
What is it that you do not understand? Because this is what Gwabeni Zungu said on the 26th of November 2025.
What was his answer?
He said he will dispute it if someone says you were working in 2014.
My response to that would be that it's possible that he did not bear any knowledge because we were not on regular contact.
Did you have any contact or you were not in a regular contact?
We were in communication, but not to say that I would be updating him or there were regular updates with him.
If a proposition was to be put before this court that there was no contact or no communication between yourself and Sifiso Zungu, what will be your comment?
No, there was contact, but not on a regular basis, no.
Can I put it as high as saying that person is lying?
Yes, according to me, that would be lies that there was no contact.
Then I will place what Sifiso Gwabeni said. Page 62, 26 November 2025. I'll start on line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Line 6, I'll give you the copy, Mr. Jonas. Mr. Baloyi, yes, but your response when Advocate Nomalo asked you the question as to whether you know if he was employed, he said you will not know. Mr. S.G. Zungu, yes, because there was no communication or contact between myself and Makosongo. When I see Makosongo, I will see him back at home. Yes? Let's count now. This is the second lie that we have detected, myself and yourself, Mr. Zungu. Do you agree? We are hardly 30 minutes into cross-examination. This is the second time.
For the second time, when what is happening? I requested the state to put it to the witness that this is now, it's hardly 30 minutes and this is now happening for the second time. What is it that is now happening for the second time?
Lies that are being detected at Advocate Mnisi.
Lies?
Yes. Because he said it's a lie. I asked him, he said, no, it's a lie.
Now, the alleged lookout man, Sibia, also testified that he first met Constable Zungu in 2017, but only got to know him properly in 2019. The state, in its bid to further show what it deems inconsistencies, asked Makosonge about the interaction after Sibia hopped into the car that was being driven by Zungu.
Did you then introduce Constable Zungu to accused number one?
According to how it happened, they knew each other from back then.
Prior to that day?
Yes, because they grew up together back home. Sizwe, that is now Zwe, grew up in grandfather's house, and he left at some stage. I'm not certain whether it was in 98 when he left.
Well done, Mr. Zungu. Accused number one told his court that on that day he did not know Constable Zungu in toto. I'm quoting Mr. Ramasipili, just on that in toto. Can we then conclude that accused number one, Mr. Sibia, and as well as Constable Sizwe Skumbuzo Zungu grew up together?
Although I cannot confirm that, but according to Sizwe himself, that he grew up at the grandfather's place, that is where he was raised. But if it is that they are disputing that, then I cannot say anything to that.
Makosonke Zungu was also quizzed about where exactly they met the alleged lookout man. That's Sibia.
Where exactly did you meet accused number one?
We found him outside the hostel. There are containers there, so I'm not exactly sure whether it's where they will go, where they shave heads, but yeah, that's where we found him.
Was it on the street?
Yes, it's the street when you pass the hostel.
Was it at the mall or is it just outside the hostel?
Just outside the hostel.
Was it the first time that you were seeing him on that day?
It was for the first time on that day, yes.
And then if a supposition was to be put that you actually met accused number one at Naledi Mall, what will be your comment?
What I can say is that we went to Naledi Mall, that's at the shop right. That is where then we turned around.
So my question is that supposition correct or incorrect?
No, we did not meet at Naledi Mall.
So if someone was to say that, can I take it as high as saying that person is lying?
On my side, I wouldn't say that the person is lying because I wouldn't know as to, according to that particular person's memory, what is it that the person would be thinking, or I wouldn't say on my side that it's a lie or it's the truth.
Now, the state turned to the alleged statement of Gwabini, but like that of Makosonke, the defense wanted to state to first, or rather the defense wanted the state to prove the statement first, a move that was unsuccessful as the judge ruled that it was a question of cross-examination and that the state was entitled to do so. The statement is in the name of Makosonke Andries Zungu. It also states that the deponent of the statement is related to Gwabini and Constable Zungu. It further details similar events as relayed by Makosonke and how they had fun and consumed alcohol with what it describes as their homeboys at the Basotho hostel in Vosloorus.
What happened on Tuesday?
I think they arrived around 1 before 2.
1 to when?
In the afternoon.
Okay.
They then said to me, Zungu, the reason why we brought you here is because we wanted you to tell us about what you know. And then we then wrote, here is the statement.
Before we come to that, Mr. Zungu, you were taken back to your cells. Did
Yes.
somebody come fetch you back,
Yes, Mohane came and fetched me.
and where did he take you to?
Took me back to the boardroom on Tuesday.
Thank you. Then upon arrival at the boardroom, who did you find?
Still the very same 6 people in whose company I was in.
Thank you. Then what transpired?
Brigadier Kininda came and then said to me that yesterday, as we were talking or interviewing you here, we wrote a statement and then asked me if there was anything else that I would like to add, anything else that I would like to explain except for that which was documented or written down. I then said to me, if that is it then, because what's written here is what we were talking about yesterday, then if that's it, then you can sign. I then said, okay, I have no problem.
Okay, thank you. Now, Brigadier Kininda says, is there anything that you want to add in the statement that he showed you? Did you add anything?
All right, Makosonke confirmed his personal details on the statement, but is adamant that some of the information contained in the statement did not come from him.
And do you agree with me, the manner in which you met Sizwe Zungu in your own version in 2017, it is exactly how you met him in 2014 as well?
Hi, I'm Gwasi.
I am putting it to you.
No, I don't know that. I never met him in 2014.
I am putting it to you that you did meet Sizwe Zungu in 2014, and it's exactly how you say you met him in 2017.
Ngithi-ke mina kuwena-ke wahlangana naye ngo-2014 and kwenzeka futhi-ke ngale ndlela le owahlangana naye
Nithi
ngayo.
mina la njengoba la kusho la istatementini. Istatement sithi uSizwe Zungu sa-arrange azange arrange ukuthi uSizwe Zungu. Into engicela bhuti wami nansi Mr. Sibanda. Ngicela ukuthi ngikhulume lapha. Mr. Sibanda, akungabi sengathi ongaphezulu ucindezelwe ngaphansi. Mhlawumbe fanele mina ndwele impilo yami kuwe.
What I'm saying
Because
is
ngisho kahle 2014 akaze basefosola simini.
All right, let's look at what you've been saying on social media platforms. Now, Siyabonga Gasa at Siyabonga G on social media platform X says, Constable Zungu handed a state firearm to a civilian, drove a state vehicle to a hostel party. I have never in my wildest dreams seen something like that because it's a lie. And it is a dismissible offense. Besides, no witness has collaborated Constable Zungu's comical fairy tale, corroborated there, he wants to say. And then we move on to Chief Gwanda at Gwanda_M6. It's consistent with the police's criminal conduct against the falsely accused persons in this case. Fake charges, arrest, questioned about Senzo case, torture, fabricated statements with illogical claims. The next one is from Max Mungero at Max_Rashiani, who says, this guy is trying to sing for his life and maybe even sing for his plate of food. All right, at Uwatsi J1 says, Makosonke was speaking the truth. Police and Baloyi took 2017 events to make it 2014 events. What he said have nothing to do with my make, in quote, make rather, but the truth and lies of state. Make a survey about behavior of a judge instead. So those are some of your inputs on this particular conversation that we're having as we reflect on Constable, or in fact, Makosonke Zungu's statement and, of course, testimony on the stand. But, of course, you can continue interacting with us through our poll question. You can scan the QR code and start voting. The votes are on your screen right now. What do you make of Makosonke Zungu's testimony? It sounds credible. 92% of you agreeing that it sounds credible, 4% saying he's misleading the court, while 4% says, I am yet to decide. All right, after the break, we speak to legal minds who will help us make sense of this evidence. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and thank you for choosing to stay with us. If you've just joined us, you're watching Inside the Courtroom, the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial Rap, and I'm Linda Mnisi, your host. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. Let's check in with our poll question that we've been asking you throughout the program. Those are the options that you have on your screen, and what we're asking you is, what do you make of Makosonke Zungu's testimony? The first option there saying sounds credible, 94% of you agreeing with that one. The second one being misleading the court, which is about 3%, and of course 3% again saying I am yet to make a decision. So make sure that you continue interacting with us. You can also send us a tweet on our social media platforms. At Newzroom 405 is our Twitter handle, but you can also send us a WhatsApp. We'll read those messages on air, continuing, of course, the conversation around the testimony of Constable, in fact, Makosonke Zungu. I mean, there are quite a number of Zungus here, so you will pardon me for that. That's Makosonke Zungu, who allegedly attended the gathering at the Foster Ross Basotho hostel. This is where the state alleges the murder of soccer star Senzo Meyiwa was planned. So our team will continue tracking those numbers for us. But for now, we get into a discussion on this particular topic, and I'm joined by two legal minds, Bungseni Gunene as well as Melusi Ulu. Melusi, thank you very much for your time. I'll start with you. It seems we have quite a number of conflicting versions from accused number one, Swiso Zungu, as well as Makosonke Zungu, particularly in relation to when exactly they met with the state witness Constable Sizwe Zungu. Gwabini says, I met him in 2017, but Makosonke says, it was Gwabini who introduced me to this Constable Sizwe Zungu in 2015. So how important is that, given that it is tied to the events of 2014? In fact, it's meant to rebut the information of 2014 and there being a gathering at the hostel.
Good afternoon to you, Linda, to my fellow panelist, Mr. Gnene, and to the viewer at home. Whenever it's a defense case,
All right, we seem to have a technical error with Melusi Ulu, and that's where I'll bring in Sibongiseni Gunene. Sibongiseni, thank you very much for your time. You follow this case religiously, right? And as a legal mind, we talk about the developments all the time. And the question that I was asking Melusi Ulu was around what seems to be conflicting versions from the defense witnesses, from Sibia, Gwabini, as well as Makosonke, around when exactly they may have first met Constable Sizwe Zungu.
Yes, good evening, Linda, and your viewers at home. Yes, the implication about this contradiction insofar as to when they met Constable Zungu, it become problematic. In fact, it makes the evidence of Constable Zungu to be more stronger than three people who are then speaking about different occasions, but speaking about one person whom they say they met on the same day. That is where the challenge is, because if you remember very well, we have Muzi, as much as he has three versions insofar as to when he met Zungu. Plus, then we have Makosonke, who said then he met Zungu in 2015. But nonetheless, what is important is when he met him with Muzi as well as Gwabini and himself. That is the important part which has to be taken into consideration, other than the other meetings of Makosonke, as well as if Gwabini has different meetings than the one of 2017 they are alleging. But which has to be taken into consideration now is they are speaking about 2017 and say this is when we met Gwabini. But as to how they met him, that is where there is a problem. Somebody says there is another mall, then the other one says there is another shopping center. I don't know how proximity those places are, even though if they are in proximity. But then someone with proper recollections, Muzi supposed to have a proper recollection, same as Makosonke, insofar as to when they meet this gentleman. Maybe the difference is about the name of the shopping center. At least if somebody says, well, it was at the corner of ShopRite, someone says, no, it was just at the entrance of ShopRite. You see, there's no difference that much there. But if someone is speaking about a name of another shopping center, and the other one speaking about the name of another shopping center, then we have a problem now. And remember, this is an issue of credibility. So as to whether Muzi is credible, is Muzi credible? Is Makosonke credible? Is then Kwabini credible as well? Because insofar as the bicycle, Muzi never said anything about it. At whether Kwabini was, they met him somewhere in the street while he was riding his bicycle. But as far as I remember, he testified that at the time when he met Makosonke and the other gentleman they were driving with, they then drove to Kwabini's place. So this is another problematic insofar as credibility is concerned.
And when we go back to Constable Sizwe Zungu's testimony, I'm reminded of the evidence of Pinky Vitalingham from Vodacom. It's cell phone evidence, which is expert evidence, which pointed to the fact that the cell phone of accused number 3 pinged at a tower that is situated inside the hostel on the day that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. Now, in light of what you're describing to us and adding the expert evidence to this, how problematic does it become for the defense?
If I remember very well, how they linked that tower, which supposed to be inside at Basuchini Hostel, it was when Brigadier Gininda was testifying. I think Advocate George Baloyi tried to link it with some bank records, where Muzi gave an address at the time when he was opening an account, and such address that he gave, it was that one of Basuchini Hostel, but there is a street name which was mentioned. So correlating with the tower, which was then put on record by Pinky Vitalingham as to that tower, it's also found from Basuchini Hostel. That's become problematic because now this evidence get collaborated by scientific evidence other than just general evidence or being a direct evidence from a witness testifying, which is supposed to sometimes to be depending on its credibility. But still, even the scientific evidence, it has to be valued and be compared with other evidence and to find out as to whether the person who was testifying and giving this a testimony in terms of expert, is that person credible, or whatever the information that he put on record, was it credible or not? Then if the court finds that the witness was credible at the expertise, insofar as the expertise is concerned, then has to accept that evidence, and the evidence, such evidence has to be challenged scientifically, so if you want to challenge it, because it's of a scientific in its nature.
And we have Melusi Kulu back, and Melusi, Subongisene was just reflecting on, what seems to be conflicting versions given by the defense witnesses, like I asked you earlier on. But I want to quickly move on to you and ask you about the issue of the statement, right? And again, we're seeing a witness who confirms their personal details, but also confirms their signature on their statement, but says there are certain details that he wouldn't have given or that did not come from him. How then would the court view such evidence?
Apologies for the network issues. Yes, I think we're going back again to the Kwabini issue, where there was a statement that was made, but when it comes to confirming, the witness will say, I did sign, or I was forced to sign. In this case, I don't hear him saying he was forced to sign. It's just that the contents of that statement he denies. But like we've always said before, it's an issue when the issues that are stated are issues that can be only known by the witness. So once again, he's denying. I wonder whether the court again will, with regards to Makosonke, also say, look, the statements that we have here is being denied. I must bring the people who made it so that at least we can confirm whether the statements exactly the way it was made by the person who made the statement and who signed. So I think the court, before making a pronouncement on the statement, the same way as it was done, it should be done with Gwabini. If the court is not satisfied, he will bring the people or the person who was involved in taking down the statement so that there can be a completion on that issue, because it being left like this, there might be some questions. So I believe the court will again call a witness or a police official who took down the statement.
Gentlemen, unfortunately, we've run out of time. That's Mnisi Xulu as well as Sibongiseni Gunen, our legal minds, helping us understand the evidence that we've been hearing in court, unpacking, of course, some of the key important issues relating to the testimony of accused number one, that's the alleged lookout man, as well as Sifiso Gwabini Zungu, who testified before Makosonke Zungu, and what seems to appear and what the state was going into was the alleged inconsistencies that they are picking up around this event that they described, saying that it happened in 2017, while Constable Sizwe Zungu says this event happened in 2014. And why is it important? It's important because, according to the state, the murder of Senzo Meyiwa was planned at the Basotho hostel during this particular gathering. And of course, they've led extensive witnesses in relation to, expert evidence around, bank records, but also around the cell phone evidence. All right, so let's quickly check in with our poll question before we close the show. We were asking you earlier on about what you make of Makosonke Zungu's testimony. 92% of you say it sounds credible, 6% of you saying he's misleading the court, while 2% of you say they are yet to make a decision. All right, that's where we leave it at for this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Proceedings will resume again on Monday. You and I will catch up again next week, Sunday. Until then, bye-bye.